Greetings! Exclamation mark. Welcome back to Smartwatch Ticks. Period. New paragraph. We're going to have some fun today, comma, as we're going to play with voice to text conversion using the Google system in a smartwatch. Period. New paragraph. Actually, comma, we're going to do it in several smartwatches. And, comma, best of all, comma, we are going to do it offline! Exclamation mark! Exclamation mark! New paragraph. You ready to see how it's done? Question mark? All right, comma. Let's begin. Period. Oh, thank goodness I'm done with all of that stuff. I'm going to start by showing you something on a phone. I want you to grab your phone and I want you to grab these apps. You see this keyboard here? You're going to get that one. You're going to need that one. And it's available in the Google Play Store. It's called JBAK2. Go on there right now. Oh, the Constructor. There's two of them. There's one that's a basic keyboard and one called the Constructor. Download and install this particular keyboard. And hopefully you know how to convert or change your default keyboard to another one. So once you've brought this in, just open it, follow the directions, and set up your phone to be using this particular keyboard. Next, you're going to go on and put in a search for Squarespace Note. Not just Note, you'll get hundreds of note programs, but grab Squarespace Note and install that one too. And if you already have it, check for an update because you may want to update it to the latest configuration. Now let's talk about why you need these, what you're going to do with them, and what you can do in a watch. Before you get too excited, though, I want to show you something. When you check your watch, where's our little ADA 64? Make sure that the watch you have, that the watch you're going to use, has 1 gigabyte of RAM. If you don't have 1 gigabyte of RAM in your watch, everything you're about to see here won't work. I found out from Pablo 11, our tech expert over at the Proboards, that offline text conversion or recognition from voice is supported only in 1 gigabyte and higher models. So if you've got a 512 4 gigabyte watch or a 512 8 gigabyte watch, 525, I always get those confused, whatever, half a gigabyte watch with RAM, it's not going to work. It just is not going to work. You need a full gigabyte. With that said, we've got quite a few of them that have that. You're looking at the i4 Plus right here. And running through this for just a second, check this out. Well, first of all, check that out. That's a stock watch face in this puppy. Very fancy the way they're getting. When I come down here, you'll notice that Wi-Fi is off and cellular is off. I'm not on the network. I could be out in the middle of Timbuktu or Bucktimbuktu and still be able to do the voice recognition you just saw. Here's where those apps come into play. The Squarespace Note app is an amazing app. It's a note taker, but it's more than that. Run through this with you real quick. When I bring it up, it brings all this stuff up, including the keyboard, but I want to put the keyboard away. There. Now, I have the note. If you go over to the right, you'll see you can add services, and I can add all of these different kind of things, like Squarespace themselves, or Dropbox, your Dropbox account, or you can set up an email account, Evernote, and Google Drive. Now, what that means is after you have set this stuff up, let's say your Google Drive, and you create yourself a note. Error, yes, I know, we're going back. And back again. Okay, there's the note. I'm going to get rid of the keyboard that I just completed. Sorry. When you're finished with the note, even if you're offline, you can swipe down and see up the top. It says no device or no services are selected. When you have a service selected and have it set up, you press and release, and that note goes phew, and it disappears off the screen. A new blank one comes up, and it's either sent directly to the service that you wanted, or any of them, like an email copy to you, a copy to your Dropbox account, a copy to your Google Drive. It's just gone. And if it isn't online, it goes into a queue so that the next time you're in a Wi-Fi zone and you connect up, your watch will automatically sense that and send it on. So if you want to leave a grocery note to yourself, if you want to dictate part of your burning novel inside, if you want to relay what you just woke up from a dream while you're taking a bathroom break, offline, online, I don't care. You can go into it and you can do all that. You can even attach a picture on here if you want to. And if you've got a camera on your watch, you could take a picture right from there, or you can grab it from your gallery. Okay, now let's talk about this keyboard. In order to do voice recognition like you saw, you obviously need to have a keyboard that has a microphone on it. And as we've all found, the stock keyboard doesn't have the microphone button. But this particular one, called the JBA K2 keyboard, does. It supports the microphone right down here. See, there's a dual use, English, or you could change languages, and then there's a microphone. Press and hold, it brings up the Google Voice, and you can start speaking, and what you speak will be turned to text right there inside Note, or wherever. If you're in your Google Play Store, you can speak the app you want to look for. If you're in a browser, you could speak what you want Google to look for. All of those possibilities, wherever there's a text input, this keyboard can replace your stock keyboard. There's bad news about it, though. It was created way before they came up with this little thing about making third-party apps square. So if I go here to where the Note app is now full, you can't read a lot of it that's off the screen. However, the keyboard comes up great, and that little blue line with the symbols and stuff on it is where it's supposed to be, at the very top. And you have a full keyboard to use if you're going to type. But if you reduce it on any of these third-party apps, and you bring it up, that top line drops down and kind of blocks these other keys, making it challenging to use. I know. We're not totally there yet, but we're getting a whole lot closer. So you go back and forth is what I find. If I want voice recognition, I go into this mode oftentimes so I can see what I'm typing. And if I'm going to be doing keyboard input directly, like putting a password in or a web address, I'll drop out of that, go back here, bring up the keyboard, and I've got full use of all of the keys, including all of the symbols, including all of these navigation keys too, so that you can cut, copy, paste. You can do all sorts of stuff with this. Very robust keyboard. All right, that's what we're about today. If you've seen enough, that's great. If you're really interested and you're going to do this, and you've been downloading these things, like I said, to your phone, and you're going to test them out on your phone so that you really understand how they work, cool, because I'm going to show you how to do it on the watch. It's already set up on this one, so that's how it works. It shows you the keyboard. When you go into the keyboard, after you've installed it and you've done the major things you got to do to get it active, then you can go into the configurations, and this is where you can really make it shine. We'll come back to that on a different watch. In fact, let's switch over. This is the i4 Plus 1 gigabyte RAM, which is what you need. Here's the Thor. I've had a lot of folks ask about Thor and what we can do with that. This one has a camera, by the way. Going to bring and turn this one on, and now we're going to go through the whole process of what you would do to get this to work. First of all, let's get into the apps. We've got the apps here, and we have already installed them, so I'm not going to go through that whole process. I went to the Play Store and looked it up and downloaded the keyboard constructor and the Note program. When I come in here and I tap it, it's going to guide me through setting it up. Hope you can see it's not too bright. The first thing it's going to want me to do is tap here and activate it. So you notice here that there's all these things, and some of them are shut off. And one of the important ones that needs to be turned on is Google Voice typing. So we're going to turn that on. And it also automatically highlighted the Watch IME, which is the default keyboard that comes with most of these. So on your watch, if you find that Google Voice typing is not turned on, turn it on. Then we're going to turn on that JBAK one. Oh, I've got my slider thing for my brightness, which is what interfered right there. There, I touched it. It tells me all this stuff that you always get when you're installing a third-party keyboard, and you can pretty much ignore that. And I say, okay. So now the keyboard has been activated and available. Now we have to select it. So the default one is there, and then there's the new one. And then lastly, we're going to go in and configure it. Now, I've had some problems if you press that third one. It puts something on the screen that if you're in the full circle mode, you can't get down to where you can click OK. So if you run into that, just make sure that you're in the square mode, and then you can say OK. And now you're coming into the different languages. Here's where it gets really, really important. Pay attention. You want to make sure English is selected, and you want to click over here on the right. Now, if you can see up there at the top, we have a variety of different keyboards. This is actually a back arrow, and that's a forward arrow here. And I'm going to hit the back arrow a couple of times. I could go forward or back. Well, maybe I'll go forward. It may be easier to touch. Okay, there. You see the names of the different keyboards, and the layouts are showing up down at the bottom. By the way, all of this information is coming to us from Pablo 11 from the Proboards. We've been back and forth talking about this. He guided me through getting this all set up, not only on the watch, but for offline voice input. Keep going, keep going. And then we get to this one that has says it's a keyboard from Paul Boyd on here. That's the one we want. You select that keyboard and you hit the little floppy drive and it got saved. Okay, so you got the keyboard in there and you've selected which one you actually want of the templates that are available. Now you bail out of all of this stuff. You can do other things like adjust the height and change other parameters with the keyboard if you want, but just leaving everything else as default, that's all you need to do. Now, we got the note program here. We can tap on that. This is the first time it's gone in, so it gives me an explanation of everything. Tells me that I could, of course, slide over and configure the places that I want my messages to go. And now we've got the keyboard. Now, it may or may not work right out of the bat like this. It should work fine if you're on Wi-Fi. If you're not, we have to configure the offline stuff first. So first, let's give it a try. I'm going to leave it in the square for right now because I'm not going to use the keys. I'm going to press and hold. This is a test of the keyboard, comma, to make sure that it's working correctly, period. Notice that the first letter of the first word of a sentence is properly capitalized, period. It didn't used to work that way, comma, and it caused a lot of problems when you were actually trying to dictate English sentences, period. But it is working now, comma, and working quite well, period. Excellent. Oops. You got that. Okay, so there's my first little note, and if I wanted to send it, I could even swipe up or down as long as I've configured where it's going to go by adding, for example, my email address in here. Then it would work and shoot it off on its way. This is all presuming now, first of all, that I am indeed on Wi-Fi, which I am. I'm going to take Wi-Fi off because that's the magic of all this. By the way, whatever watch you've got, 512, 525, 768, I don't care, whatever memory you've got, if you're on Wi-Fi, you can do everything I just said. Don't be too forlorn that you can't use this voice-to-text capability or this keyboard with the microphone on any watch, any Android watch. It'll work fine as long as you're online. The 1 gigabyte requirement is if you're going to go offline, which is what we're doing right now. We're going to come back. Hey, by the way, you like that? Isn't that sweet? This is from our custom guys who've designed these different smartwatch faces from a long, long time ago, the fabulous Las Vegas one for Smartwatch ticks. I just love that one. It's so cute. Anyway, we're going to go back here. I'm going to come back into Note. I'm in my keyboard. I'm going to press and hold. Hello, are you there? Question mark. I don't see anything. Period. Hello? Question mark. Nothing. Okay. That means I don't have offline working. So I'm going to come back here. I'm going to go back online because I'm going to have to download my offline voice. So make sure you're back online after you test this and find it doesn't work. Then we're going to come over here and we're going to go into our settings. Where are the settings? Settings. Language and input. I think I made this really bright. Are you able to see that? Let's dim it a little bit. Okay. Our current keyboard is here, and these are the different keyboards that are available. There's the Google voice typing, and it's set for automatic, and I'm going to tap here. Now I'm coming over here to the voices. In here, I go down to where it says offline speech recognition. I click here. Aha! It is there. You see where it says English US? All right. I'm not sure why it wasn't working offline. It should be. So if you have that there, then you're good to go because you need to have that installed. If not, go to All and look in the list of all the different languages here and pick one that you want to be using for offline English, offline recognition. See, here's the English one. Now I have the option of uninstalling it because it's already installed. All right. Well, that's how you get to it. Once you've selected it and installed it and set it up, by the way, is it set up? Let's go back in again and verify that we look at the different languages or keyboards. The Watch IMEI and that one are the two. I'm going to say choose keyboards. Make sure that voice typing automatic is turned on, and it should be set. So let's try it one more time. Go back down in here. Oh, yes, right. And we know it'll work online, so we're going to turn it offline. No Wi-Fi, no cellular. I don't have a SIM card in it anyway, so there wouldn't be any cellular. Fly down here to Note. And hello. Hello, are you there? Anybody home? Wow, it was working earlier on the other watches. This is a test of offline voice recognition, but I don't see anything working. Okay, I'm going to press and hold and go to my recent tasks. And I'm going to close out all of my recent tasks because sometimes you just have to start everything over again, right? Wow. But a lot of stuff going there. Now let's bring up Note all over again. Oh, it's in the Add Service page. Oh, that might be it. I wasn't in the right place. Sorry, everybody. I'm going to give some carriage returns. And now we're in that note that we started, and let's try it again. Here we go! Exclamation mark. I am back offline working on the Thor smartwatch and capturing whatever I say into a note that I can send off to myself or anybody on a different email address anytime I want, period. In total offline mode, period. New paragraph. Wow! Exclamation mark. Okay. Wow. So there you have it. Added to the note that we had and ready to go. All right, so you understand how we set this whole thing up, and try it out on your phone first so that you get the configuration worked out. You can do both the keyboard and play with Note and set all that stuff up and test it there before you get down to this tiny little stuff that you need to work on your watch. So this was the Z-Blaze Thor, and it's a 1 gigabyte, 16 gigabyte watch, right? And it works fine on that one. It worked fine on the i4 Plus. And both of these are of the same class as the KW88 in a sense, as opposed to this type of a watch, which is like the Finow and number 1 watches that use a whole different clock engine to do their thing. And guess what? 1 gigabyte LEM5 from Limfo, which is the same as the X5 from Finow, which is similar to the D5 from number 1. As long as they all have 1 gigabyte of RAM in them, you are in business with the same combination of the keyboard and note. And there we are. And press and hold. Oops, no, different on this one. That's right. Sorry, gang. Note. Okay, how do I get into that? Wow, where did I go there? Anyway, I was trying to make it into the tiny square, and I've forgotten how you do it on this one to see whether that line jumps down or not. Yeah, I don't know. We'll keep moving. Anyway, the difference on this one, though, is you have a black background in the note. And if I press it and activate it, hello, everybody, period. Now I've got English text and a larger font in white against a black background, which is easy for me to read, coming to you live from the LEM5, period. New paragraph. Let's see if we're online now or not, period. I'm not sure, exclamation mark. New line. Wow. New line works instead of new paragraph. Okay. Oh, okay. And there the whole thing is once I got rid of the keyboard by swiping it that way. Nicer layout on the LEM5. So you're getting characteristics of these watches now that can help you besides what color the band is and how many buttons as to functionality. Let's go into system, which is at the end. They all have their pluses and minuses. I really don't like the UI, user interface, that it's so hard to get to every place. Oh, you know what? I think I don't have to do that. I can just swipe down. No. That's notifications. On this watch, you have to go the other way to come over here. To find we are on Wi-Fi. So I'm going to turn Wi-Fi off. Now we're going to go back into the apps. And to note. I'm going to add some text now, just to prove that the offline capability is working correctly on this watch, just like it is on the other 1 gigabyte watches, period. It's a Google thing, and because of that, and the fact that it is implemented and supported by Google on all of these 1 gigabyte watches, whether they have 8 gigabytes total memory or 16, it works, period. And I think I'm done, except for one more thing, period. And that is this. See, it's all right there. Oh, do I have this set up? Let's see, if I go like this, no service selected. But I can go that way and I could add a service, and I got to make that into the little square to do all that. But we're at the same place, so Note is very, very capable. This one, the one we just reviewed, the DM368 Plus. Oh, I love that. That's a custom watch face. It doesn't come with the watch. Yes, I know you're going to ask where you can get it, and no, I don't remember. It's one of those packages. I think I've reviewed it before, and if you go through the reviews and you see it, check the show notes. You can download the zip file that gives you the link to go to any of these custom faces. Follow that link. You'll get to the developer site, click the download button there, and you can download the watch face. But what we want to show you on this one is that the offline doesn't work. And it's really, really weird because when I go in here to my languages and input, and go into the keyboard, you see I've got the keyboard selected. And if I go to Google Voice Typing and I get into the whole Google stuff, and I come down here to offline speech recognition. Oh my goodness. Oh no, yeah. You see, it says English UK. That's because I installed the English UK voice because it didn't have the English US. And when I come over here, it's not even in the list. And so for some reason, on the DM368 Plus, English was not installed as the default, which it's supposed to be, and it's not available in the listing of all of the languages, so it has been impossible for me to set this up for offline voice recognition. However, it does work fine when you're on the internet. This is a connection to the internet, and it's typing away off screen because I have this in the full screen resolution. So it shows you that you can't read what scrolls over beyond the sides of the screen, but you should be able to press the button and switch it back. Whoops, it's in the middle of my text. Whoops. Anyway, switch it back to the square so that you can actually see what you're typing. But of course, when you're in the square and you leave this mode, the keyboard has a little floater thing in the middle here, and in this case, it doesn't even have the letters in it. So a little glitch with the keyboard, but you can get around that anytime you want to by simply changing it to full, and your keyboard will work perfectly as a keyboard. You have been watching Smartwatch Tics. You have learned about how to install a keyboard that has a microphone on any Android watch. You have learned about a note program that's awesome for being able to capture your thoughts with that keyboard with voice recognition or typing and be able to shoot that note off in any direction you want to. You have learned that it's implemented differently on each of these watches, and the number one Final Limfo style of watch, like this one, gives you black against white and good-sized text when you do it. And you've also learned that we have some limitations in this silly keyboard, but you can get around them by pressing and holding and changing from rectangular to round, because when it's in rectangular mode, the keyboard's a bit obstructed, but the voice works just fine. You've also learned that you need a 1 gigabyte watch, 1 megabyte of RAM on your watch in order for offline voice recognition to work, but it will work fine for you on any Android watch if you stay online, if you're connected to Wi-Fi. And when you've got your note program configured on different services that you want to send your notes off to, all you got to do is swipe down and you'll be able to send your note like that to wherever you want it to go. And if you happen to be offline and you've taken your dictation offline, that's okay. It should cue that note and send it the next time you are online. Give it a try. Let us know in the show notes what you think. If you've got improvements, suggestions, an alternative keyboard with the voice recognition stuff, or how to get English on the DM368 Plus watch so it'll work on this one offline, let us all know. You've been watching Smartwatch Tics, like I said, and I really appreciate your subscription and your presence and your participation, and we will be back with more juicy stuff on how to work with your smartwatches.